On today's show, Nico Harrison was noticeably absent from the Dallas Mavericks introductory press conference for Anthony Davis, which is fine, except...
I'm here because I have to be here. Explain yourself. Sorry.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years, being an everyday. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. And joining me in the same room, in the home studio, the One More Thing King, media member in attendance today, the question asker, but it phased me out. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
You know, Nico was missing today, but we were not. We were there. And, yeah, I took all the questions from Nick.
They said only two questions per person per outlet, and Isaac just gets both of them to Anthony Davis.
I said I was sorry.
But both of them were good. So we'll talk about Anthony Davis. We'll talk about what he said. He said something about playing the 5, which I found really noticeable, and what he understood as far as the fans' response to this trade I thought was really good. So we'll talk about that and get into that. Maybe we'll talk about Max Christie and Caleb Martin too. They were also there. But we got to start here, Isaac Harris. Anytime you have an introductory press conference, and like I said, we've been covering this team for 10 years, and you have the GM there every single time. Anytime they've ever introduced a player, the GM is there, or the coach is there, or somebody. Rick Carlisle, Donnie Nelson, Nico Harrison even has been.
Rob Pelinka.
Rob Pelinka. And this time, you get to the presser, and as soon as I walk in, I see 3 seats, 3 microphones, and a podium. And I go, okay, well, they're either going to do all 3 players, or maybe Caleb Martin gets his later at a different day. They're going to do the 2 guys and maybe Nico Harrison. And then Nico Harrison was not there. And not only was he not there to answer questions, he was not there visibly, at least at all, anywhere in there. And that, to me, was odd. I think many Mavs fans are seeing that and feeling that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing about the 3 seats, especially the, presser mentioning Caleb, a part of it. And it was like, all right, Nico not going to be there. I kind of get it from the player perspective of, if you're Nico, it's like, hey, I want this to be about the players. Anthony Davis, you traded for Anthony Davis to kind of be you're not replacing Luka, but to be your star.
Yeah.
So, if Nico shows up today and sits down at the podium, then Anthony Davis's welcome intro presser to Dallas is about 90% of all questions going to Nico Harrison. So I kind of get it from that perspective, but then you said something afterwards. You're like, all right, well, once the players leave, then Nico could have came out and took questions and stuff. And I totally get that. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's fine to let the players have their moment. I think that was smart. I think that, like you said, if Nico Harrison was up there with them, the players would get no questions. Anthony Davis would maybe get one question about his personal life or his TV show, or something about that. But there would be no questions to anybody. It would all be towards Nico Harrison. So I get that. I do understand that. If Nico, if you're watching, I understand that decision. What I don't understand is just not speaking to the home media at all and not giving a chance for everybody there to ask questions of Nico Harrison. He only had the press conference before the Cavs game, which is an away game. And we talked about the vibes there. They were weird. And I think the difference between what he understood about the trade now, considering how he responded and how he was making jokes and all that kind of stuff, to now, I feel like this Nico Harrison now, 4 days later, should have to answer questions. So it's not even about the home media. It's about, all right, the most amount of Mavs people in one spot that can ask him questions about this. And he's got to face the media at some point. I mean,
does he?
I mean, he doesn't have. So that's the thing. He doesn't have to.
He
doesn't have to, but
he's calling up James Dolan. It's like, hey, how'd you get away with this for your whole career? No, yes. If I was him, I think I would have taken questions today after the players were done, because up until to this point, he's been, I think it was David Aldridge who wrote a piece about it on The Athletic of like, hey, you made a trade this big, and he's kind of like stuck, like he's backed it. He's been out
down.
there. He's said all these things, and so. But now there's a difference between doing a presser in Cleveland with there's only so many people who travel that cover the Mavs. There's not a ton. I mean, we're talking under 10 people that cover the Mavericks for all the away games.
Someone work for them.
Yeah, and it's like this was the moment that you get all the. I mean, there was a packed house in the presser room today. So, that part was weird. But it's like, I mean, you start looking at the Tim McMahon went live right there in the hallway on ESPN after the presser talking about the death threats Nico's gotten and the increased security and how he's not going to be in his normal seat on Saturdays. At Saturday's game and stuff and. It's pretty intense for Nico right now in Dallas.
And so the other thing is, is there a win for him if he spoke? Can he win? He's just gonna have to double down on everything else. And
well, I mean, win or not, I don't think it's just a matter. It's a duty that you got to do. You're gonna make a deal like this that impacts so many people. That's the thing. Yeah, it's not just the families out there and the fans, the diehard fans, but this impacts financially people too, even people in the media and stuff. So there's a lot of
talk for us, Nico. Nico, answer for us.
Come on the pod.
Who will think about us?
Come back on the pod, Nico.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
we had Nico on the pod at a media day, and then we interviewed Nico in Golden State in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's right.
After a practice and stuff on the pod. So, I think it's more of like you make a trade like that, you almost have to talk to the media. It's not just as far as like the home media and all that, it's not what's the win in this? What can I gain from this? It is, you kind of just got to like take it and just take the tough questions, double down on it, and people disagree. But that's kind of the thing you got to do if you're Nico. I love guys. If you're an audio listener, we're in the same room right now. All right. So on YouTube, you get to see us together on the pod. But just watching Nick in action over here with the soundboard, this makes me want to buy it even more.
If Nico Harrison's not long for the Mavericks job, which is a conspiracy theory out there, then why would he care? You do your duty and
he
go out there.
He cares about the fans, Nick. Just kidding. That would be sarcasm.
I don't think I've ever jammed the camera that hard than when you just said that. And I understand why he didn't speak with the players, but at some point he's gonna have to face it. And whatever his next press conference is, he's gonna get questions. He's gonna get questions about this trade for the rest of his life, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's just gonna keep happening. And so I don't know. I guess
it's pretty telling that one side of this trade trotted out everybody. Head coach,
yes,
GM,
Rob's sitting there smiling.
Parade.
LeBron's there, JJ Redick's there, everything.
The whole city of LA is there. It's like it was it was just throwing out the red carpet, and everybody's taking questions. And then the other side was this, and appreciate that we had the press conference. Love talking to Anthony Davis. I feel like you can reasonably separate the two. I got a tweet afterwards and was like, why didn't you ask tougher questions about why Nico wasn't there? And it's like, yeah, I guess that's the move. Let me ask Max freaking Christie on where Nico is, his new boss that can send him anywhere too. Like, that's just awkward. I mean, no purpose in that. But
I will say the perspective from the players, from Max Christie specifically, and from Anthony Davis, about how they understood this and how they understood the gravity of this trade. Like, Max Christie did a interview with Leslie McCaslin before the Celtics game, I guess, or the Sixers game, and he said to be part of the biggest trade in sports history. He said that that was an honor.
It's flattering.
Yeah, he said it was flattering to be part of the biggest trade in sports history. Like, he understood how big the trade was. Anthony Davis talked about how big the trade was. And I thought it was refreshing to hear from them and to hear from somebody now from like the Mavs side of things. They are on the Mavs side of things now, that they understood what this meant to the fans, and that they're going to be, I think, understanding for however Mavs fans respond on Saturday, which is going to be one of the most bizarre,
weird
games ever, maybe in the history of the Mavericks, because of what happened, the response from fans that's understandable and all that. So coming up, let's get into how Anthony Davis responded, because I thought he said one thing that was really great about all this and how he understands the gravity of the situation. We'll talk about that coming up.
Guess what?
With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIB treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of a high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for a 1-year first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. Go and see what you got. If you want tickets to the Mavs game, they still have them, I bet. And you'll see the views from your seats. You'll see all kinds of stuff. You can get them for $34 right now.
Wow, $34. Let's go.
All kinds of different things you can get. They still have tickets in the lower bowl for $152 right there. That's all in. You know exactly what you're paying. Check out with the all-in pricing. You can see the view from your seat. You can boo whoever you want from down there for $151 in the lower bowl. That's a pretty good deal. Go check it out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking in on the show. If you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us on Mavs Rumors, watch film, do different kinds of things with us. We'll send you all kinds of alerts. Subscribe to our Locked On Mavs Insider program, the text line 214-643-8637. All right, Isaac, we talked about Nico Harrison not being there. Now let's talk about the people that were actually there. And Anthony Davis talked about what it meant and understood what the trade of Luka Doncic meant and the gravity to fans. And I think one of the things that I really loved from him is he said specifically in getting asked a question about the trade, I want to give them life back. And that was such a refreshing quote from him.
Yeah, it feels like he fully understands the magnitude of a deal like this, understanding of he's coming to a situation where the fans are heartbroken.
Yeah.
I said this a few pods ago, but how many times in NBA history has a top 15 current player joined a team and the fan base is just pissed? And it's a weird situation, but how he talked about coming and playing in Dallas and leaving it on the floor and wanting to give him life back. It feels like I think fans are going to come back around a little bit. You can be heartbroken over Luka, but watching a guy like AD and even seeing it was reminding today of seeing just another. I mean, the magnitude of a player AD is, but to see his family there, to see his kids there, to see how much his daughter looks identically like him, to see, some of his friends, to see Rich Paul. Talked with Rich Paul a little bit afterwards, joking about coming to Dallas and different stuff.
Can I tell him what Rich Paul said?
I don't know. What is that like on?
You said, no, he just said, it was just off the cuff. He said, you were like, oh, you got AD here and you got Lively here. He's like, yeah, we got to get some guards and some clutch guards on the
immediately pulls up clutch clans that are guards.
I know, it's like all right, here we go.
But no, it was my first time meeting Rich Paul, so I just wanted to talk to him for a little bit and all that. He likes Dallas, and he was having a lot of fun, enjoying that. He was even taking some pictures with people and stuff. So, and to see AD's friends and like his crew there, it was just only the stars, only the big players kind of operate like that to that magnitude. So it was just another reminder of like, okay, AD is one of those dudes, and to see it today was good. So I love the mindset that AD has coming into it right now. He joined the team on the road. He was so engaged, and he just seems so excited to get on the floor and to make Mavs fans happy.
Yeah, he also talked about you asked him a question about playing the 5, which I think is one of the big things for him in his career. He's been very vocal about wanting to play the 5, wanting to play next to, or wanting to play the 4, wanting to play next to a 5. and he's got two now in Gafford, and whenever Lively comes back, he mentioned them by name. You asked him about that and what that meant to him and why it's that what unlocks in his game when he plays the 4.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out the best way to word it at the end of that question of like what makes it dominant, but also he's like really dominant at the 5 too.
Right.
And it's like,
lineups.
But I also didn't want to like ask the question in a way that made it seem like he was a diva either. Like, why do you want to play the 4 so much? So, but I do think it unlocks some of his game, and the fact that, he immediately starts referencing some of these times where he really excelled at his game and some of these high points of his career of playing alongside DeMarcus Cousins in New Orleans, playing alongside another big in LA and winning that title.
He mentioned playing next to, he's like, I always play next to 5s with the Pelicans. And I was like, wasn't one of those Omer Ashik? Like
maybe.
Isn't that, you guys dominated? I don't know about that.
But no, I think defensively too, it kind of allows him to play this like kind of free safety role that he's amazing at. We see Dallas do this sometimes with Lively too, and allow Lively to play a free safety role. But I think that's one of the top things I'm looking forward to seeing the Kyrie AD 2-man game, which he talked about a lot. But also I'm really excited for when, I know it's going to be a while, to see Lively and AD on the floor together. That could be something special defensively.
There's some things to look forward to with this Mavs team. And I know for some fans it's never going to feel the same, and you're never going to be able to embrace Anthony Davis the way that you would if, say, Anthony Davis joined, if Luka had left on his own terms, or something like that. It's just a completely different scenario. But I think there's a lot to look forward to, and there's a lot to be interested in when it comes to his game, and playing the 5 is one of those. And he also was very specific when you asked the question. He was very specific in saying, I don't have a problem playing the 5. He's like, I've been asked this question so many times. I just want to make sure that everyone knows I don't have a problem playing the 5. I will do that. And the Mavs are probably going to close with him, PJ, Kyrie. I think after just 2 games, it may be too early to it, but Max Christie is probably in that closing lineup. And then you do Clay or Najee or Exum or Dinwiddie or whoever's kind of hot that night. And I think that's where you go with the closing lineup.
Especially in the near future, that's for sure, because obviously Lively's hurt, Dwight Powell's hurt, so you got to have AD back there as the backup 5. But yeah, I mean a closing lineup of AD, PJ.
Talking about the closing lineup, you brought up Dwight Powell.
Oh, sorry. What? I was just saying, like, okay. Whatever.
Since Dwight Powell's not healthy, like they don't have him to close games.
At this rate, Dwight's gonna have his jersey retired.
He hasn't been traded. He's the longest tenured. Is he the longest tenured like employee for the Mavericks right now?
Oh my. Okay, we can't do that.
We're getting close.
Yes, there's a lot of new people. Yeah.
I mean, Sam Marshall gone, ownership gone, front office all turned over, coaching staff all turned over.
Yeah,
players all turned over.
I was reminded this the other night. Obviously, I can't say names on it, but a former member of the front office shot me a text, and it was just the video of the crowd and what we have the drop on doing the Luka Doncic, Luka.
I think I deleted it,
and they were
I don't want to do that anymore. That's too much.
They sent me the text just out of nowhere, and it was just a reminder of, and it just had with it a reminder of how worldwide Luka is.
We know,
and I was like, thanks. Yes,
you don't have to remind me about it.
But no, it's a tough moment. I want to say this. I think kind of going back to some positives. I thought Max Christie was kind of a winner today in the press conference. This dude is about to turn 22, and I mean, I'm like, could you run for office right now?
Him and Lively, the Lively Christie ticket would do really well, I think.
He is so like well spoken and mature, and like just how he answers everything, and just I'm like, dude, I feel like I should be asking you for advice.
I know. Well, he had the perspective on the trade, and I think he said somewhere in there that he prides himself and wants to be a thoughtful person and wants to have perspective, and he obviously does on this trade, because that's what he took away from it. And for him, he's about to be 22 in a couple days, and he's still just trying to make his way in the league. And I think that's something that's can be refreshing too, is to have somebody like that. Hey, I know that this is a huge deal, but like I'm still trying to make my name in the NBA, and I'm gonna go out there and try as hard as possible. It's not gonna affect me, because I was trying to make my way with the Lakers, and now I'm gonna try to make my way with the Mavericks. It's not gonna change me at all.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a weird spot for him too, because Followell joked about it. It's his intro presser holding up a jersey and everything. I mean, it's like, does this jersey have sweat on it?
I know, he's already played.
Just kidding. They have New Jersey all the time. But he's already played a couple games and, all this stuff. And now he has this intro presser. But, yeah, I love some of the playful moments, too, of like, yeah, I mentioned how he's flattered to be in the deal with Luka and AD and all the stuff. But I am, I was even texting you some stuff during the Boston game. I don't know. I think I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid too much on Max Christie right now.
I think he is that. Like, I don't think he's 15,
a good player.
I don't think he's 15 points a game, but I think he's that good, and he has some more potential that he can unlock. Lakers fans were all upset that he got traded, and when fans are upset that you traded somebody when you got a Luka Doncic back, that means something.
Yeah,
right?
And obviously he's not going to be Luka. It's not nothing. No,
but he's a really good player.
But it's like, all right, cool. He's not just like It's not just a young flyer that you're like, let's just see what
he's got.
He is down the road. Max, seeing a couple of games now, you're like, pretty solid player.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb Martin was also there.
Yeah, I don't know. He was bundled up for Philly weather.
Yeah, he had the knit cap on, he had the beanie on, he had a big jacket on. And I was like, he probably just is upset right now because it's 70 degrees outside.
Yeah, he was really bundled up for the winter. He's a soft-spoken guy, and he didn't get asked a ton of questions. This is one of the awkward parts about some of these pressers when you come in with a guy like AD.
Yeah.
AD is going to get majority of the questions, even to the point where Anthony Davis jokes and it's like, y'all got a question for Max?
Well, because they started, the first couple questions went to AD, and Max leaned over to him and said something to him, and they both laughed. And then AD was like, "You guys got any questions for Matt?" Christie was probably like, "I don't think I'm going to get asked a single.
Why am I here?
I'm just going to hang out and listen to you," which is fine, I guess. Honestly, Caleb Martin could be on a closing lineup too when he comes back, which I guess he'll come back sometime after the All-Star break.
Yeah. He was kind of vague about his response to his injury question and stuff, but
so were the 76ers apparently.
All right, I don't have anything else to say.
They got fined $100,000 because of not disclosing Embiid injury health stuff, and now they have to give
the Mavs got another second-round pick.
No, this is anti-76ers. It's like that's just so weird that has now happened twice to them that they had to pay for.
It is weird.
Injury communication stuff. It is for him. It's a hip sprain and not a hip strain. A strain is like less severe. And so they said it was the less one, and it's actually more. So I don't know.
Him and Dwight can compare hips.
He said he's doing. Yeah, they're gonna work their hips out together. Just gonna hear Shakira music in the train. This is the magic you get when we're in the same room.
Can we get copyright claim on?
We probably can actually, to be honest.
Oh,
on YouTube.
Sorry, please don't.
What are you expecting for tomorrow?
Are you not doing another ad break?
No.
This is why I've just been so quiet for the past minute.
No, this is a bonus show. We're doing the.
Oh, okay.
I did them at the same time.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, now we're just free flowing.
All right, just follow the lead.
I was, but I was
the worst follower.
I was just doing quick answers there because I'm like, oh, ad break coming. Our TV, our WFAA cutoff is really strict, and it's right at a 22 mark, and I was like, you're just blowing past this, bro.
Yes, I am.
All right. Anyway,
what do you expect for tomorrow?
I don't think it's going to be as hostile as some are making it out to be. I think there's going to be protests outside the arena and all of that, and signs and weird stuff with that. I think there's going to be some weird Nico signs, but I don't think during the game as the Mavs players and Kyrie and AD and these guys are playing.
Yeah.
I think we could hear some stuff at the beginning, like a Fire Nico stuff when it's quiet or
if it ever quiets down. Sean Heath's got a big job ahead of him, the Mavs PA announcer, because it can't ever get quiet during that game. It'll go off.
Yeah, but I think once basketball starts and stuff, I don't think we're going to be second quarter and we're getting a Nico chant as AD's catching lobs or something. I think fans are going to be into the game.
What would you go? Would you go Fire Nico, or would you go?
I think that's the only option.
I think that's the only one.
I think that'll happen at some point. Yeah.
Slightly and I did a couple renditions yesterday on the show. One of mine was "This is what a superstar looks like," and it's just a picture of Luka.
And I just don't understand the Fire Nico part at this point because it's
now
we're gonna let Nico make insane decision and then fire him. Okay, so then
I'm still sitting over here.
It's not like you get Luka back.
I'm still sitting over here thinking that he's the fall guy in some way, right? right? So they're not going to fire him if he's their fall guy either. So
yeah,
either way, whether he's the fall guy or he made this decision and ownership agreed with it, it's like, okay. Well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you gotta keep him at this point. Like it's just, I don't think it makes any sense to just fire him after you can't reverse the decision. No. So I think he's here to stay for a little bit.
He is, and if you're going to go to the game tomorrow, I guess I'm going to go check out the protest and see what's there. So say hi if you see us.
And I want to take a serious moment for a second. If you are going, this is much bigger to of a thing for some people of like trying to make this a threat or dangerous type of thing. I mean, it feels stupid to say this, but if you're thinking about something like that, it's just stupid. Like don't go to that level. Don't go to something, that, it's just insane. You want to chant, bring posters, protest. Don't
ruin your life over a protest of a basketball team. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's starting to get to that point a little bit. And I mean, even some tweets that we've gotten from people, DM stuff. It's just like, it's kind of gross. Like, and I'm pissed.
Just be smart about it and, be considerate of other people. And I'm not going to do the whole thing where, when you mess with Nico, you're also messing with a husband and, and a father and all that. I'm not doing that, but, just make smart choices out there. If you see us, say hi. We'll be out there. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll continue to have episodes all throughout next week and every post game and all that. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.